Cool. Well, hello everyone. My name is Brad. I work at Blind Squirrel Games, and my talk today is called Lessons from the Pitch. Originally, I was going to talk about just some war stories from what we've found over the last few years doing presentations to clients and to execs, but I thought a better way to do this would be to give something practical back to the community. So today I'm going to be sharing our elevator pitch. It's been so helpful for us at the company. It's something that I've used myself. It's something that more and more people are engaging with in our company, and it's just really sped up our pitching process. So that's what I'm going to be talking to today. Just a bit about me. I have worked for over 10 years in the digital entertainment industry. I started out doing a whole lot of random stuff, like working as a motion capture technician, doing video editing for different small agencies, working on videos like Burger Fuel for marketing. And then the first bigger company I worked at was Warner Brothers Television. I did some editing on just reality TV shows there, like The Block NZ and First Dates. I then helped start up Conical Studios. I worked there for 7.5 years, working on VR, AR apps and games. And then in the last 2.5 years, I worked at Blind Squirrel Games as a producer. So that's where I'm at now. If you want to know a little bit about Blind Squirrel, the company itself was established in 2010. It's a US-based company. We specialize in full development, co-development, ports and remasters. And the Auckland studio, which myself and Luke down the front here are a part of, and also Louis just down there as well. It was established in 2021. I started in 2022. And we've been growing quite rapidly. We're up to 14 staff. We started with 4. So, and also hiring 5 more at the moment. So if you're an engineer and you're looking for it, then please send us your CVs. So just to give an idea of some of the games we've worked on, some of them you're probably going to know. We've got Borderlands, XCOM, Delta Force, Mass Effect. So we've done a lot of the work on the remasters and co-development of these projects. I don't think everyone should be bound just by what they do. A bit more about me. I have a lovely family. I've got a little boy, Jack, too. My daughter, Lucy, is just 4 months old. And my wife, Nicole, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary this year. So, yeah, very cool to have a supportive family. And then just something on the side. I used to play a lot of games when I was younger. But now I've just started to get back into drawing. I haven't drawn since university. So this is just what I do on my free time. So a little bit about me. But yeah, getting into the pitch. I think first, before going into the elevator pitch, it's important to define a bit about the process. So looking at that, creating a pitch is and should be an iterative process. To make a pitch, it really takes thought, time, and real effort. But if it's done well, it can lead to the publisher deals, work contracts, and funding. So it's a really important part, not just of our company, but of many different companies and their process of landing in projects. So the best way that we've found at BSG to solve this problem is through a gate process. When I worked at small studios like Conical, this was something that really turned me off. You'd hear all these bigger companies saying, oh, you have to, they spend months going through different gates to approve a project. It's so time consuming, you never get the project through. So I was very against this process before coming onto BSG. But once I started to understand it more, yeah, I'm very on board with the process and I understand why. So my goal is just to give you a description of how we go through that and then really hammer down on the elevator process itself. So this is the one that we use at BSG. This is in all our templates, it's in all our documents. Just to explain a bit about how it works, you can see up the top, as you go through the different gates, things take longer. And with everything, it takes more time, more complexity, and more money. So you really want to get this right. So usually you start with generating ideas. Anyone in the office can do that, and that should be happening constantly. And if someone confirms that your idea is probably pretty good, then you want to take it to the next gate, which is the elevator pitch, which we'll be talking about today. This should only take days. If it's done well, it should only take days, and you shouldn't move on to anything else until it's been approved. So for us, it doesn't just have to be the leadership team that's generating these. If someone's got a really great idea, then the purpose of this, we've made a new template that anyone on the team can fill out. So all ideas are valuable to us. So it's been really beneficial, and for us, getting more projects through the door and assessing more as a team. So once it's gone past the elevator pitch, it goes into a game pitch. This is something more fleshed out that describes the full game in its core. That can usually take weeks to months. It has more involvement from designers. It has the art team doing more mock-ups. It also has some of the producers starting to build something that can turn into a backlog. Once that goes through the next gate and that's been approved as well, you've got the design and backlog for a full game. If that's also get approved, it looks like it's a good budget, looks like it's a good timeline, then you can start taking it into a prototype phase. So this is the full process that we use in our company. If you want the more formal explanation that we use in our decks, a gate process is a development process where progress is evaluated at predefined stages or gates by a group of experts, including people on and external to the regular development team. So some of the developers on the team, maybe the leads, might have a say in if the project's good or bad, and also some of the executives as well. Development does not continue unless the gate is passed. This was something I saw in the past that we'd have a great idea and we wouldn't talk about it. We wouldn't really think, is this really going to work? Is it functional? Have we thought through all the core mechanics? We'd just pass it through and would find that out later the hard way in 6 months that it wasn't a good idea. So a key principle of the gate process is to fail fast. You want to make sure if it's a bad idea that you cross it out straight away. Another way of describing this, lots of games are made exploring ideas and creating a vision, but it's expensive. And anytime you go past an elevator pitch, it takes time and money because you're using more resource to make it. I know this is probably not as important when you're starting out and you might be working in your parents' basement and money's not that much of an issue, but when your team size grows and scales up, like it starts to cost a lot more to make these done well. So it's really important for us. So the elevator pitch, this is what I'm going to go through today. You've just had a good idea. Maybe it's someone in your office. They think it's really good. We're going to take it to the next step. So in our company, we will just hand them this template and say, hey, it's up to you. Can you fill it out and let us know? And then we can assess it. It gets sent to the executive team. We have a weekly meeting. If any new ones come through, they assess them. And if we approve it, then we can look at taking it to the next stage. So there's only one simple rule. Like I said earlier, the elevator pitch should only take a couple of days. And if it isn't any good, if people think it's not a good enough idea, then you don't do the game pitch. You don't take it on to the thing that takes a whole month to flesh out. So talking to my manager, Steve Sargent, he's had over 30 years experience in the industry. He's worked at Rockstar Games. He loves the elevator pitch. He's who I've been working on to make this for our team. This is what he said about it. He said, people throw ideas at us all the time. We look at every single one. And honestly, about 95% of them don't hold up. Not because they're inherently terrible, but because they haven't been thought through properly. So that's why we give them this, the elevator pitch template. And if you can't fill it out, it's a sign that the idea is just not ready yet. So this is the one that we use. Anything that you see with this terrible red header is the actual template that we use in our company. So I just wanted to make that clear. And I'm going to be using just a couple of examples. I made one for one of my favorite titles, Metabots. I'm a 90s fan, so this is my pitch for a game. Get excited about it. It could be in the stores in maybe 5 years, but I've just used the template, filled it out as an example of you can see how we do this. It's our process, and it's always easier seeing something practical. So, yeah. Cool. So the first page, very important, title page. For this, we do an executive summary. You want to have a game title, the working title of the game, a game pitch, just a sentence that encapsulates the high-level appeal of the game, the fantasy, just a statement that talks about the fantasy and what you want players to expect and experience in the game, a log line, just a cool one-liner that can just give people an idea about where you want to go with it, and then obviously the most important, who it's by and the date that you created it. Some of these might get archived for a later date. They might not be a bad idea, but it might just be something that's not fit for right now for the company. So it's always good to know when it was made and when you can pull it back out. So to show an example, I put Metabots, the main thing. The game pitch is Dragon Ball Z versus Pokemon Stadium. Love these two games, would like to mash them together as a concept. The fantasy is just an action RPG in the world of Metabots, filled with adventure, friendship, humor, and a whole lot of row battles. So that's my pitch. More Metabots, more power. So the reason why we do this is we start with the executive summary to build interests. The primary purpose of this slide is to speak to the visionary personality type, the what. At a high level, it demonstrates that we've thought through the idea, why it's interesting, and why this idea can work. That should all be summarized in just one page. To give another example for our project Cosmorons, we've done this just with an image. We've shown that it's a 1 to 4 player shooter. It's got high stylized graphics. You can see the title, it shows the enemies, it speaks it all in just one image. From that, we've just followed up with a small executive summary with a GIF and just a simple paragraph about the project. The next slide, very important, is the key product data. So in this, you're just putting down simple stats of where you want the game to go, how many players play it, what kind of genre is the game, what's the age rating of the game, how long is the gameplay time, is it going to be 20, 40 hours, is it just going to be a very casual, small 5-hour game? What's the session time? Are people only going to pick this up for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes? The pitch and the budget that you're suggesting, the input data, engine, so just a lot of stats about the game that people can see from a high level. An example of this being filled out, for the Metabot style, I want one player, action adventure, it's E for everyone, 20 hours worth of content, session times 30 to 60 minutes, lead platform Nintendo Switch, engine Unreal 5, single store payment, 9 to 12 mil budget, 25 team size, and 24 months. And is the license available? If you're trying to pitch for something that has a license, do some research. Find out, is it possible to make a game for a different IP and pitch it as part of the company? So the reason for this slide is for the pragmatist, the how. It delivers a high-level summary of the process just in one page, and the budget all in one place. So again, if you do these first 2 pages properly, for any publishers or executives that are pressed for time, they should get the whole gist of the game within just the first 2 pages. So sometimes you'll see publishers, they're seeing 100 of these a day. They're just going to skim read the first 2 pages. If they don't like it, they'll toss it. So you might as well put the most important information in those 2. We've also seen some people that look at it and throw it anyway. It's probably not the right publisher for you if they're not interested in the first 2. Cool. The next 2 is what the player does and the game world. With what the player does, instructions of just everything that they're exploring within the world, major experiences that the player character will be exposed to. So again, for example, in Legend of Zelda, this would be including playing as the character Link, exploring the lands of Hyrule, fighting monsters, solving puzzles, and then the game world. This is the whole setting of where it takes place. So the universe for Legend of Zelda is Hyrule, and then some cool examples of Kokoriki Forest, Zora's Domain, just some locales that people can get a feel for where it's going to be taking place. Just a note, as I've said at the bottom here, even abstract games have a game world. The world of Tetris, for example, it's 2-dimensional, but it still has its own place. So it's good to flesh that out for the reader. Again, as you can see, taking an example from the Metabots pitch, what does the player do? They battle other Metabots, they go on quests, they explore Riverview City, they compete in row battle championships, and the world that it takes place is Riverview City, exploring some of the different locales, and the Rubber Robo Gang hideout. So pretty simple, like it should be pretty easy. This template is something that people in our team are filling out more and more. Before we put this into place, it had to be some of the execs because people didn't know what to fill out. So yeah, so with these 2 slides, the reason why we follow up from the executive summary with these is because gaming is one of the few mediums that demands active participation. So once you've painted the picture, you want to be following up with the world and the player's actions. So first introduce the core concept, then clearly outline what the player does and the world in which it takes place. Cool? So next is the core mechanics. So we've talked about the player, the locale. We want to talk what the player's actually doing. What are they contributing to the world? What are the core mechanics that they're doing to drive the game? So here, a couple of examples is environmental navigation, hand-to-hand combat, range combat, finding keys to open doors. If you can't do any of these to go through the game, then it's not a core mechanic. So it has to be something that's driving the player through the experience. Another note probably at this time is that if you can't complete the step, which some people can't, it again might be an indication that your idea right now is more of an abstraction rather than a fleshed out concept. Some of the art team on our team prior to this template would just come up with an idea and say, oh, we have something amazing, it's cool, we could have all these visual effects, we have all these characters taking place in a world, and there'll be lots of foliage and beautiful environments, and when we start saying, well, what do the people do in the game? I'm not sure. So that's why we can't push that project through the door. We can't go to a game pitch because then someone's going to have to think about the game design and the core mechanics. So it's better to have an idea of that up front. So again, an example of this for metabots, it could be row battles. It could be the fact that you're having battles with other robots. You could be fighting in different environments. You could fight back against a threat. You could get parts that you could customize on your metabot, and you could use special abilities. In our game Cosmorons, one of the core mechanics is unique movement. So it's grappling against asteroids, it's moving on gravitational fields, it's running on different sides of planets. This is one of our core mechanics, and without it, it's not Cosmorons. Cool. So like I said a little bit earlier, core mechanics are important. People need to know what drives the game, and you have to keep these simple and clear. For example, archery minigame is not a core mechanic. It would be better summarized as range combat. Keep it simple. Keep it something that anyone can read. After you explained the core mechanics, you want to explain how they all feed together with a core loop. So add a description of the core loop. The core loop is the order of actions that are continuously repeated as the primary player experience. So for example, again, Legend of Zelda, it's a core description and idea that we use, but you fight monsters, talk to NPCs, solve puzzles, destroy the dungeon, and just keep repeating it until you rescue Zelda. For Cosmorons, the one that we use here is very simple as well. You just need to navigate around the planets, defeat enemies and destroy the planets, gather any of the materials from those, and then upgrade your character and your weapons. So very simple, and hopefully the graphic speaks for itself. Cool. So the core loop clearly outlines what you are doing to get through your game in order. Yeah, I mean, the graphic speaks for itself. Cool. After you've talked a lot about boring mechanics, it's probably good to flesh it out with a little bit of color. So the next two slides that we usually go into with our pictures is art style and camera style. So for the art style, this is an opportunity to explore a bit about how your game could look and feel. We always like to use a couple of examples from other games just to help people see the direction that we want to take it. And if you have time, I had a little bit of time, I do a little bit of art, create a mock-up, give people an idea of how your game could actually look. Just kit bash a few different games together and make something cool that can, really show the feel for the game. Camera style, same thing. Is it first person? Is it third person? Is there any changes in the camera? Is there a special way that the camera moves? For us on Cosmorons, the camera actually adjusts based on what gravity field you are on the planets. Maybe for this game here, the camera could change based on if you're in narrative cutscenes or you're in moments of story. So just call those things out. It's really important to know and feel what you want to do with the art style. As an example, again here for the Metabots one, I've just said it's a vibrant, bright, bold visual colors, and just use some inspirations from Ni no Kuni and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Quest. So that's the kind of picture I want people to get when they're thinking about the game idea that I'm making. Here's a mock-up. Again, you can see I've just kit bashed a few things from the actual show, stole a couple of things off Sketchfab and kind of placed it in and painted over it really quick, but hopefully it gives an indication of the art style and what it could look like if it was a rolling game. And yeah, just as I said about the camera style, calling out some of the attentions to detail to do with the story-driven cutscenes, and just a couple of screenshots of the different styles that I'm pulling from different games. Cool. So again, like I said earlier, by layering this presentation this way, we first anchor you in the player's journey, and then show how they'll play the game, and then finally immerse you in the world's look and feel. So a picture tells 1,000 words, but only once you know what you're looking at. So again, it's really important we do these pages in this order for a reason. We're not crazy, I think, but yeah, it's helped us, and it's turned out to be quite beneficial when we're pitching to clients. So cool. Getting into the last few slides, we're going into more of the marketing stuff. So target audience, describe who your target audience is. If you can think of different target audiences, then list them down here. I mean, pretty easy. For me, it was 90s kids, fans of action-style RPGs, anime enthusiasts, mech robot battler fans, and fans of different games like Neopets and Slime Rancher. This step is really important because we've seen it in some games like Concord, that if you try and target everyone, sometimes it doesn't work out. So we believe at BSG anyway that there has to be a target audience, and it can't be everyone. Think about the person that will buy the game first, It doesn't mean that everyone won't buy it if it's really fun and exciting, but it does mean that some people will be more excited about your game first than others. Cool. The last couple was just influences, inspirations, and similar products. So you just want to put down the people that have inspired you for this idea. It's good to have context. It's good to get an understanding. If people want to play some of these games to really get on the same page of where you want to go with that idea, they can do that. They can also do a bit of market research too. So yeah, just put down a couple of those, and also comparable products. If there's some that are done well in the industry, you want to show that this is a probable case that making something similar could work. So as an example of a couple of these, I put down Pokemon Stadium, like I said earlier, some of the early Metabots games that they've put out. Some of them did pretty well in Japan. It's a good case study. Dragon Ball Z, Monster Rancher, Pokemon Super Mega Champions. Yeah, speaks for itself. And then the comparable products table. This is just an idea of doing a super quick amount of research, filling it out, giving some idea on some of the units sold, the revenue. So people reading this document can get a feel for where we want to go and know that there's other people that have done it too. So it's more of a safe bet. Cool. So why do we add these in? It's an opportunity to demonstrate that the game isn't reinventing the wheel and providing similar proof of concept, similar titles that have succeeded in the market. So before deciding to move forward with a pitch, it's essential to show that the idea has the potential to succeed commercially. I mean, sometimes you want to explore something new and fresh, but I mean, for us as BSG, we've found it beneficial to use examples of other things that have been done and expand on them to make something new. The final part in the pitch deck is other stuff. I mean, some people call it appendix. We've just gone with a more simple title, but this is just an opportunity to dump any more information about the product that you want people to know to really obviously push your idea over the line. An example here is I've done a bit of research about the company, about the idea, about the product, just giving them more information on where it's come from, how it was represented in the early 2000s, giving context to how they merchandise this product to really show that there's value in the market if we pick something like this up. And then just their current context within Japan and where they're still going, what they're doing right now, that they've launched a game even in 2021, so they're still live and they're still available. So hopefully there's some appeal for a IP like this. And then, yeah, the final slide, just a thank you. If you're sending this out to publishers, we usually chuck on Charlie, who's our VP. Yeah, if we want to get a gauge on if they think it's good or not, then they've got someone to contact. So yeah, I mean, there's not that many pages. It's very simple. Hopefully it stands out for itself. I guess the main thing is why would we do it? Why do we do it in our company? What's the purpose of it? Well, we've found that if we do it, we spend the minimum amount of money and we get the best idea. Each of these pitches are being churned out in 2 days. When we first started, I was helping out with this process when I first came on board, and no one in the company knew how to do it. No one could make an elevator pitch other than the executive team. So you've got the people that are trying to run the company, trying to put all these pitches together to get out the door, to get more products, and all these other team that want to help, but don't know how to fill out the right information. So putting this pitch together and really making out this template in the last 2 years has meant that more people can do it. It also helps give a clear framework, so all the people that just put on word vomit and had 40-page elevator pitches that we just did not have time to go through, we avoid all that. It's been cut down to 20 pages. It's very quick. It should take people 20 to 30 minutes to read through. And it also gives, like I said, a guide to those who are unsure what areas to flesh out. Thanks to this template, we now have a larger group of people that can do it to a higher consistency in our office, and we can create more of them. So we can either see these in office and get sign-off for if they're good or bad, and we can also send them off to executives faster and get a feel if it's a project that they want to take further, extend, and we can finally turn into a game pitch for them. So yeah, that's my talk. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. Yeah.
Hey, great talk. So you said that this template can be used by pretty much anybody in your team.
Yeah.
So are there examples of instances or times when, say, some kind of more junior member, like an artist or some junior developer, pitches a game that actually went through and you guys actually started producing it and working through development?
Yeah, so I mean, even Cosmron started out as an internal one. I can't speak to a couple of the prototypes that we've done just for confidentiality, but some of our designers from the US team went through this process, pitched it, and we ended up taking it straight through to the prototyping phase. And it was something that we shipped around as a potential project to take forward. So we've had about, I'll lean on you with this, Luke, too, but for our company here, since we've been working the last 2.5 years, I think we've worked on 3 prototypes internally in the Auckland office, and they've all been spun out of ideas from the team. So that's, 3 that I can think of. I can't say the names because they haven't been fully taken out further, but yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, down the front.
Yeah, really good talk. Thank you. Have you, like, obviously this work is for a very particular part of the potential production process, but have you found that giving people the language that they're using within these templates has changed their practices or informed their design decisions outside of making pitches as well? Like, has it helped to make them communicate more clearly, I suppose, or?
I think so, because it gives it purpose, right? Like, but before that, like I said, I worked at a few other companies and they didn't have a process like this in place. So you didn't really have a direction to meet, and you didn't know where to hit it or if it was finished in time. So some people could be fleshing it out for weeks and it would really make no difference. But knowing that you have to fill out these specific areas and you're done, it sped up the whole process for everyone. So now when they're filling them out, one other part that we do a little bit earlier is called a one-pager, which is part of the generating ideas. And it's just a simple one sheet to fill out. And some people can do that in an hour. We've had designers fill out 12 just in their lunch break. So, you know, taking that to the elevator pitch, they just send these through and say, hey, we've got 12, which ones do you like? So yeah, I think it's really sped up the efficiency of the team and given them something that makes designing and pushing out ideas a lot faster. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi. So I'm a little bit of a newbie when it comes to like working on my own projects, but I started out in sort of the screenwriting industry where an elevator pitch is more, I guess, equivalent to like a log line. And I know it's not the subject of your talk, but I'm just curious what you would say is the difference between this sort of elevator pitch and a full game pitch.
Yeah, so like I said a bit earlier, the full game pitch is a lot more fleshed out. So I think a lot of the stuff that we talked about today is more high level. So with the game pitch, we might be exploring more into the details and the weeds of the core mechanics and how they play out, and start doing diagrams and example mock-ups of like how these should function from using other games. Sometimes we even get artists to start blocking out some UI mock-ups and some concepts, so people can just really get a good feel of the game on paper before taking it to a prototype. So we don't want to go that far, and that's the danger of not having a template like this, is that people can just push it past elevator and just start going straight into a full game pitch. Ends up being 80 pages long, and what if the idea is crap? Like, you've just spent 3 months with 4 or 5 team members on that. It's a lot of resource that you can waste when you're running a bigger company. So it's important to make sure you're getting it right each step of the way. And if it's done well, it shouldn't take long to transition, right? Like, if the system's set up, people should be assessing these weekly, like we are. We have weekly meetings with the exec team to go through any new IP pitches, and people get feedback pretty quick. It's like, hey, that idea that you pushed through last week, we don't have time to do it. It's good. We're going to chuck it in the back burner, but we really like it. So thank you for your time. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Yeah.
Thanks, Brad. I just had a couple of questions.
Yep.
For the backlog part that you were mentioning near the start and before prototype, was that backlog and budget for the entire project or for the prototype?
It can be either or. Like, sometimes we'll just block it out to, here's the budget for the prototype. If you want to go ahead with that, start first. Some people, in terms of business, will just want to contractually pay for just the prototype, see how it feels, and then have a cut-off milestone. So yeah, you can either have just the prototype, or you can have both, and then maybe they want to go with either or take on the full project. So
And thank you. And then the last one was you had some like high fidelity representations with the GIFs from Cosmoron and things like that.
Yeah.
For a pitch that shouldn't take more than like a couple of days, we most likely wouldn't have that kind of thing coming along with it.
I was just using it as an example to give some difference in terms of that's come out of our game pitch as an example. So you can see that the GIFs and everything, those are the things that take extra amounts of time, like months and weeks, to make a full game pitch that looks good. So yeah.
Thanks, Matt.
Some people might be able to get it out really quick in 2 days. I don't know. There's some genius artists out there that might make a really good visual pitch. Yeah, cool. I think we could do 2 more and then might have to wrap it up. Yeah.
Thank you.
1. Yeah.
Thanks. Amazing. Metabots is awesome. And I'm really curious about the legal side of like IP that people put through this process. Like, do they still own it or, yeah. If it's
You mean
original.
with the Metabots specifically? Or?
No, sorry. With the elevator pitches and things, if they're original ideas, do they still own them?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what license it is and stuff like that. Like, for example, I did a lot of research into the Metabots one before writing this. I don't want to go into the weeds on this. It might take a lot of time, but they had a court case. They're mainly a Japanese company, but they had the copyright for Metabots in Europe, and it ran out because they hadn't pushed any games in the last 20 years in Europe, but they've been doing all their marketing in Japan. So they lost the copyright. So another company bought it, started trading as Metabots, and there's been a big lawsuit over it because they were using the title inappropriately for Bitcoin and stuff like that. So I just saw this as an opportunity to band with the company, do it legally, and start pitching it back in the West under all the right means. So yeah, you can do research and figure out if the license is still available, who owns it, and just takes a bit of digging on the internet. Yeah, cool. I think that's everything. So thank you. Thank you for coming, and I hope it was useful.